Hi, this is Bluefinger1987, just doing a quick response, well, try to do a quick response to Don Exodus 2's Why I Believe in God videos. Basically, the bone I have to pick with him is I was fucking disappointed with these videos. I won't deny it. I was bloody disappointed. Compared to his videos on evolution, which have been all very well articulated, all very well thought out, and well researched and everything, to have him resort to faulty logic and bullshit arguments. I mean, 20 minutes, which could be compressed down into 5. 20 minutes, which just dragged on unnecessarily, just giving bullshit out of bullshit. And, annoying. I mean, I expected more from this person. I mean, I expected him to actually provide some decent arguments, some decent sort of reasons. But no, he just resorted to the very same, well, the very sort of arguments you see average Joe Christian make. This sort of argument from personal experience. These appeals to authority, appeals to conviction. I mean, even some of his beliefs are questionable. I mean, this whole idea of, but I believe that everybody gets a chance to answer to God after they die. I mean, I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to. Even if I were to die and suddenly be before God and Jesus, I probably would acknowledge their existence. But I don't have to sort of say, yeah, I'm going to worship you, I'm going to accept you. I don't have to. Who cares? And besides, that's an extremely selfish thing. Oh, now you see me, you have to worship me. Otherwise you die spiritually. Or get sent to hell. Or whatever bullshit. I mean, okay, first of all, as a skeptic, I can live my whole life without believing, and then suddenly die, probably hit by a bus, sort of out of bad luck as it usually goes, and then end up sort of before God and Jesus, and then go, oh fine, I'll accept you, I'm sorted. And there I have that eternal life, or whatever measure of peace that you sort of seem to be promoting. I mean, and then what about the criminal, the murderer, the rapist? What about that? I mean, if they do all these bad things, and all these murders, and all these crimes, suddenly get killed, let's say out of bad luck, sort of slips onto his own knife or something, and then ends up before God, as in, all he have to do to enter heaven or have this measure of peace or any of that bullshit? All that he has to do is I accept you, Jesus and God. Is that what you really believe? Is that really what you actually sort of sensibly believe? I mean, come on. And this argument on but this whole God is a completely subjective thing. You have to think of it in only subjective terms. You have to, and I have all these personal experiences which reaffirm this. No, if you sort of, as soon as you start saying that something's completely subjective, it is completely personal. It has no bearing on reality, because reality is not dependent on the observer. I mean, you may say all these things about, personal experience validates. A lot of people's personal experiences are probably false. I mean, if you go, let's say you go into this old house, it's dark, thunder, and then you suddenly see something in the corner of your eye, and you're like, oh fuck! I mean, would you immediately assume it's a ghost, or a spirit, or some sort of demonic influence? I mean, would you immediately start assuming the things which cannot be proven, things which cannot be actually sort of assessed in such ways? Are you seriously going to sort of make that argument, and sort of say, because I saw something in my corner of my eyes, it must have been a ghost? Or suddenly hear voices? I mean, aren't you going to sort of think, wait a minute, why am I hearing voices? Why am I seeing things in the corner of my eyes? I mean, aren't you going to sort of be skeptical of everything before you start jumping to conclusions? you should understand that if you're going to argue from personal experience, whilst such an argument may seem very strong to you, it's actually fucking weak to everybody else. It's probably one of the weakest fucking arguments you can make to justify any sort of belief, personal experience, anecdotal evidence. You cannot trust anecdotes. In court, anecdotes alone cannot convict a person. You can cross-examine these anecdotes in order to validate whether they are accurate or not. However, you have to examine them closely. You have to be skeptical of these anecdotes. You have to analyze them. You have to sort of be critical of them. You have to sort of cut them up and sort of dissect them and sort of and look at what's being actually said and offered. And if you can't do that, if you can't sort of step back and say, wait a minute, is this really what I'm experiencing? If you do not have that, then of course you're going to be suckered into bullshit like religion, or bullshit like this new age crap, or cults like Scientology, or sort of like, I mean, come on. You have a brain, use it. You used it so much for these videos on evolution. Why aren't you using it now? And this thing on this appeal to authority and convictions, that somehow because the disciples were very passionate about their beliefs, that it means that they weren't likely to be lying. Excuse me. Of course they were lying. Well, you can't know that they're not lying. They have to look passionate. They have to have these convictions. They have to sort of go around and sort of start promoting this new faith charismatically. If they can't do it, Christianity would have never taken off. Christianity, as you know it, wouldn't even exist. If they weren't able to sort of inspire people, if they weren't able to sort of get these followers by looking passionate, by spreading this passion for their beliefs, then they wouldn't have had any sort of followers going for them, and thus religion, the religion of Christianity, wouldn't have ever existed. You would have been still stuck with Judaism. So, and more modern examples. This sort of, as in, if you look at Scientology, they're all very passionate about their beliefs. They're very they've got really strong convictions, to the point where they sort of try to silence and harass critics, and sort of almost deify their sort of prophet or their founder, L. Ron Hubbard. I mean, does these convictions make their beliefs any bit more true than me going, oh, there's pixies in my garden? No, it doesn't. It's completely stupid to argue from that sort of to argue on that as like an appeal to authority and conviction. Oh, because the disciples said it and they were very passionate, that means they weren't wrong. No. And what else? Well, there's a lot of things which I can go into about this, but more or less that's my main sort of critique on the matter. What really is annoying the shit out of me with these videos. Blah. I mean, it's just disappointing on your part. It's just really, really disappointing. I mean, if you can't justify your beliefs in a reasonable and logical fashion, then don't even post the videos in the first place. If you're going to say religion and politics are boring, well, now I know why you find it boring. You can't even justify your own beliefs or convictions in a reasonable and logical fashion. And probably that's why you rely on things that you can only prove for just arguments. Well, that's it. I'm done. Good day.